So the idea was basically that question: what would a woman do without a man in her life? And as I told you, like I lost my father when I was a teenager, so technically my brothers are my guardians. And I lived in New York, but when I came back, I was divorced in my 30s, and I still had to rely on my brothers. And like I said, I was very lucky in many ways. You know, my frustrations were nothing compared to other people. So that's kind of how the film was born. What would a woman do? You know, It starts with a question. And I usually like to ask the question and then sort of deal with it in the film, but also leave room for the audience to kind of make up their own feelings about what's happening. So it's kind of just peering into someone's life and leaving room for the audience. And there might not be an answer, but I think it's important to ask the question. I knew the premise in the beginning, but the question for me and what I kept going back and forth with was how does she choose to deal with it? You know, because the first and obvious choice would be prostitution, but I didn't want to go down that road. You know, it's such a repeated kind of story. How do I tell it in a different way? And it's funny, as I was writing, I was also watching Weeds. I don't know if you know the show. Yeah. So that kind of was just like, boom, boom, you know, housewife selling drugs at home, you know? So it's something that could definitely happen, and especially in a situation like this. So that's kind of how it came together. But then also the film as well evolved when I casted the actors to play and brought them in as well. Because even the brother-in-law who basically comes and asks her for the money, I wanted to portray him as a three-dimensional person, you know. In a way, he might be evil, but he's also sick in a way. So there's something that's there. So the wound is not just on one side, the wound is actually on both sides.